Hi friends! This is DaintyTank. Thank you for joining me today. This is Heart of the Woods Part 5. So, poke the Totoro. If you haven't seen the last parts, you really need to see this. It's a fun one, it's a good one, and it's the voice acting update, which just came out all of 2 weeks ago. Sorry for banging the desk here. It just came out 2 weeks ago. It's really awesome, and it makes it more accessible for me with my mild aphasia that I have with reading things. You can definitely see it, as well as the word finding difficulties. That's why you hear from me a good bit. But besides that, which I think we've gone over before, and don't mind me readjusting the camera because yeah, we're gonna do this. Let's just go and play. So last time we left off, we were stuck in the snow. We had gone out to see this really cool thing that Morgan had kept as a surprise, and it turns out it's a church, or she says it's a church that's been there way longer than the actual town itself. But a blizzard came in, it looks like, so we're trying to get there. Alright. Doop. Sorry. There we go. I'm afraid that Morgan's going to say that we're lost. But then I realize that we've arrived. Just ahead, a huge stone building stands tall. For its supposed age, it looks remarkably intact. The howling wind buffeted it. But even from here, it looks infinitely safer than being stuck out here. A pair of massive wooden doors loom before us.
Just give me 1 second and I'll get this open.
Sheesh, that's whitewashed. She grabs a hold of the door and starts to pull. The freezing wind works against her. For a tense moment, I worry that she wouldn't be able to get them open. But then, I like that sound effect. With that creak that's audible even in this weather, they slide open to let us in.
After you.
We all need telling twice. Tara and I hurry inside, with Morgan letting the door slam shut behind her as she follows. First thing that strikes me is the temperature. An old stone building in the middle of the blizzard should be frigid, but it's not. In fact, it's almost warm.
Mads, we hit the jackpot!
Oh yeah, I hope you have your camera, because oh my god, you should be filming all of this. Look at that. I'm just taking a second, because look at that stained glass and the archways. And all those bookshelves. I've never seen giant bookshelves in the middle of a church. Her shout reverberates around the massive chamber, leaving a faint echo in its wake. When Morgan said a church, I figured it would be some small wooden shack with a tack-on steeple, but this... Tara's flashlight beam dances wildly against the walls as she spins in circles, trying to take in every last detail all at once. This is a little loud. Let me check on that sound. It's a little loud. Take it down a touch. Maybe it's just a howling sound effect. There we go. Return. Okay. This is nothing short of incredible. Yeah, it's awesome. Let my light drift as well, but slowly enough, I can actually take the time to process what I'm seeing. The whole interior is remarkably well preserved. A few broken pews, a couple pieces of collapsed stone, a layer of dust on nearly every surface, all are the only things that make the place seem anything less than brand new. Looking closer at the building itself, I can see various flourishes or designs decorating the walls and railings. Whoever built this place, they built it as a labor of love. The centerpiece is a massive stained glass window that dominates the center of the far wall. Its brilliant colors form an intricate pattern. I make my way over to Morgan, who's currently watching Tara dart around the building with a small, satisfied smile. It dissipates as I approach. Oh, okay. So she definitely enjoys Tara. Even though I'm relieved to be out of the storm, I can't believe we ended up in this situation in the first place. Before I can say anything, though, she beats me to it.
I'm really sorry about this. I truly am.
Oh, yeah.
If I'd thought the weather would turn so foul, I'd have never suggested we come out here. The last thing I want to do is place you and Tara in any danger. I just wanted to show the two of you something tangible. Something different.
Yeah. Swallow my harsh words. Good. Chastising her wouldn't do us any good. Plus, she's right that the weather changed way faster than I would have expected, or even thought possible. So I just rubbed my shoulders, trying to massage some warmth back into them.
Won't apologize yet. There's still plenty of time for us to die of starvation or something like that.
I think it's more likely that we die of exposure first.
Thanks, Morgan. Well, that's reassuring. Suddenly, a beam of light swipes across my face. It comes from Tara, on the other side of the building.
Hey, come check out these books.
Morgan and I both start to head over.
By the way, how do you keep it so warm in here? I was looking for a heater or something, but couldn't find one.
It's magic, I think.
You know what? I'm not even gonna argue. Tara's waiting excitedly next to the stack of books. That's probably first.
Check it out.
The wooden shelves are warped and damaged beyond repair, but have still retained their shape pretty well. The books that line them are in a similar condition. When I remove one, its one soft cover is cold and rigid, and the text is faded into illegibility. But flipping through the pages, a few of them are still readable, or at least would be if I could understand the language.
Tell me these aren't filled with ancient incantations or something.
These aren't filled with ancient incantations.
She holds up a book into my face and blows a puff of air towards me, filling my face with dust. I wrinkle my nose, coughing and spluttering.
Hey, what the hell? You don't know what's floating around in here?
You're literally the only person alive who could be in a haunted church and not care at all.
She never said it was haunted, you know? And I'm sorry that I'm still a bit too shaken up over, you know, almost dying in a snowstorm.
Point?
Psh, we weren't ever in any real danger, I'm sure. Isn't that right, Morgan?
Actually, I wasn't sure we were going to make it here.
That. Tara's eyes widen, the reality of the situation hitting her at last. Then she grins.
That makes this an even more badass story for the vlog.
Okay.
Mads, you'll have to go hard on the wind sound effects. Maybe we should set the camera outside, get some footage of the blizzard?
No. She hurries over to where I abandoned the camera on one of the pews and picked it up, dancing it around as she frames mock shots. Maybe just get images of the church itself. Don't worry about the blizzard. Take a picture of the blizzard through the glass, maybe? I open my mouth to tell her how dumb that is when a trickle of dust spirals past me. The whole church shakes with slight tremor, and more dust is displaced.
Earthquake?
That would be the icing on the cake. It would also be horrifically ironic if we survived the blizzard only to die in a freak earthquake. Something tells me that that's not what this is, though. There's another tremor, slightly stronger this time, and with it, a distant boom, like someone shooting a cannon in the forest. Three of us exchange a glance silently. For once, even Tara is silent. Uh-oh. The stained glass window rattles. I hear Morgan sucking her breath. When I look at her, her eyes are wild and confused. Oh, this is dangerous. Thunderous sound is getting closer. Then there's another sound. A blistering crack that I recognize as a tree splintering. No wind, no matter how strong, should be able to do that. Wordlessly, Tara heads over to the distant doors. So my first instinct is to call her back to what I hope is safety. I find myself more curious than afraid. I have to know what it is. I have to see it. Morgan lingers behind us, unsure what to say or do. Tara reaches doors and presses her shoulder against it, pushes door open, just a crack, or at least she tries to. The terrifying wind catches and rips the doors all the way open, as if presenting the scene before us. I struggle to comprehend what I'm seeing. Tall, taller even than the trees, stands what I can only describe as a monster. Oh, it's the Great Forest Spirit. It's totally the Great Forest Spirit. Also, that is awesome. Two enormous, luminous red eyes peer out across the black expanse of the night sky. Neither of the howling wind nor the biting snow seem to affect it at all.
Oh my god.
That's not possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. This can't be happening. This can't be real. My legs are about to collapse under me. My heart drops like a rock in my chest, and every heartbeat sends a rush of blood through my body so strong it drowns out the cacophonous storm. Tara fumbles with the camera, her hands shaking violently. Cursing, trembling, she struggles to lift it to her face, repeatedly losing her grip as she tries to focus on the thing in front of us. I don't know how she can even have the presence of mind to do that. My thoughts are a blur as my mind does its best to process what I'm seeing. It's like the forest itself came to life, like a whole mass of trees just uprooted themselves from the ground to form something that can't possibly exist. The branches twist and contort into each other. One tree splits into 10, wood rotting into decay and growing anew again, spin from the impossible red center. Wow. Two immense horns pierce the sky, looking like lightning bolts permanently imprinted against the clouds. Even though I can manage to form is fleeting. Sorry, one more time. Just taking that view. Like, that would be terrifying. Every thought that I manage to form is fleeting. Every rational part of me tells me that what I'm seeing shouldn't exist. That it isn't possible. Yeah, here it is. Undeniable. All I can do is stare. The red glows brightly, burning my eyes, like it's staring right back at me. Maybe it is. The beast shuffles forward, its feet obscured by the forest below. With every movement, there's another massive echo. Trees crack and snap beneath its immense weight, like twigs flattened to nothing and buried under the snowfall. Oh. Fascinating. Slowly the beast lumbers off into the night and is swallowed from sight by the darkness. Soon, even the sounds of these footsteps fade too. I'm not sure how long Tara and I remain in the petrified silence. I realize that I have fallen to my knees, though I have no recollection of it happening. I feel like I have no recollection of anything, that nothing will ever make sense again. At some point, Morgan comes to my side, helping Tara and I back indoors. My whole body is numb, with either shock or the cold, perhaps both. She leads us to one of the benches that's mostly intact, and claps down onto it, my legs still unwilling to support me. Glance at Tara, all the color is gone from her face. She's still trembling. Probably don't look much better. For a long time, none of us know what to say. We sit and wait until long after the snow has stopped falling and morning arrives. Chapter 2! We were so close to the end of Chapter 1. That's awesome. I don't say a word on the way back to the cabin. How can I? How do you vocalize the knowledge that your core understanding of the world just turned out to be wrong? It feels like the ground beneath my feet dropped out from under me. My steps are unsteady. I feel nausea come up like waves. My head pounds hard. I've always prided myself on my healthy skepticism, but I can't deny what's right in front of me. My thoughts scramble to find some way to explain it, some way that I can piece it together in a way that I can understand. But it's hopeless. Tara is still struck mute. I'd expect her to be bouncing off the walls, to be unable to calm down. After all, this is what she's been after for years. Ever since we started the show. Ever since she first had the idea for the show. Now that we finally actually found something, neither of us know how to react. She keeps playing the short clip she recorded over and over, watching it until the battery runs dry. A lot of it is unusable due to snow and her shaky hands. But there's still a few seconds of clear, uninterrupted footage. Her ratings are going to go off the charts. We're going to have to prepare for endless barrages of questions, accusations of doctoring the footage. This will mean interviews, national news, maybe even a book deal. Nothing will ever be the same again. But all we can manage is silence. Morgan's the only one who seems somewhat calm, though even she's a bit shaken. She's the one who coaxes us to leave the church and starts heading back to town. It's the obvious thing to do, yet somehow the suggestion sounds like a crazy idea that I wouldn't have never come up with myself. All of my thoughts are mush. If it weren't for Morgan, I'm sure Tara and I would just both end up wandering into the woods in total shock. I can barely manage a slow stumble as I follow from way behind. Thick, fresh snow impedes the path. The blizzard subsided, but the harsh winds bite at my exposed skin. It all feels like too much.
Maddie, are you okay?
It takes a few seconds to even register her voice, and after a few more, to realize she's looking back at me with genuine concern.
Yeah, I'm fine.
No, you're not. My brain screams to ask for help, and my body feels moments away from collapsing. But what kind of help could she give me? I can only focus on reaching our destination. Morgan looks like she wants to respond, but instead resumes her trek forward, this time moving at a somewhat slower pace. After a while, the faintest lights in the distance come into view, the cabin. Our light, our refuge in the darkness. Tara's pace quickens to a near sprint, like she's been waiting for this moment. She rushes and crosses the distance, disappearing inside. Morgan walks alongside me. She opens the door, following inside behind me. I feel a sudden pang of guilt over how much I have disregarded her before now, especially since she was actually right. As soon as I reach the couch, my legs give out from under me and I fall onto it like a ton of bricks. It isn't until I hit the cushions that I realize I nearly crushed Tara, who had already collapsed next to me.
Sorry.
She doesn't say anything. She might not have noticed. I thought that getting back to the cabin in safety would renew her enthusiasm. She should be running circles around me, screaming, "I told you so." Everything about her whole existence has just been validated. But she's just looking at the ground without saying a word. Her bangs obscure her eyes, making her face unreadable. Her chest rises and falls in an odd rhythm. Then I realize that, just like me, she's still trembling. The monster silhouette flashes through my head again, huge and terrifying, the red light shining down to the very center of my being.
Here, this will help.
Good job, Morgan. She sets 2 glasses of water down on the table in front of us. I didn't even register her coming over here. Tara clears her throat and leans forward.
Thanks. Seriously.
They're the first words that she's spoken in what feels like hours. She manages a small sip, but most of it dribbles down her shirt. I don't even reach for my glass, knowing that my hands are just as shaky, if not more. My whole worldview was shattered. It's going to take more than a walk in the snow and a glass of tap water for everything to sink in.
How are you not freaking out? Have you seen that thing before?
Yeah, I mean, she mentioned it.
No, that was my first time as well.
Oh, I guess not. Morgan just is that friend who can deal with traumatic things. She doesn't answer the other part of the question. Tara continues to slowly drink her glass of water, while mine remains untouched. At some point, Morgan goes to the kitchen and prepares a pot of coffee. I can hear her rummage through the fridge and smell the coffee as it brews, but neither register beyond a cursory awareness. What does get my attention is when she sets 2 steaming mugs down in front of us. hot coffee sloshing onto her hands.
Drink this. It'll help.
Okay. I do as I'm told, lapping at the brew, since it's too hot to sip. Tara does the same. Morgan sits beside her on the couch, turning her own mug much faster than we do as she gazes out the window. By the time I'm halfway through my own, I do feel a bit better. Whether that's because of the warmth, the caffeine, or just the placebo effect, I'm not sure. Once we finish, we just lapse back into preoccupied silence. Yet again, it's Morgan who breaks it.
I think the two of you should take some time to relax. I need to get home soon too, before I arouse too much suspicion.
Suspicion?
Does that work for you?
Okay. Oh, are you worried that they're not going to be okay overnight? I looked at Tara, who doesn't seem to have even heard what Morgan said.
Yeah, sounds fine.
The more that I think about it, the more appealing it sounds. Right now, I want nothing more than to curl up in bed, cocoon myself in blankets, and sleep for a while.
Okay, I'll see you later then.
Never one for long goodbyes. Morgan heads straight for the door.
I'll message you soon.
She leaves before either of us can respond. We sit and sit. Oh, it gets dark. I don't know for how long. Longer than I've ever seen Tara sit still. I just don't know what else to do. As much as I'd like to, I know we can't just sit here forever. The knowledge that we'll soon have to return to mundane, everyday things feels unreal. We just witnessed something magical and life-changing. How could we just go back to normal life? But I know that in truth, the world hasn't changed at all. It's just our knowledge of it. No matter how long we wait, the outside world will continue to pass us by. Feels like an eternity passes, but Tara's voice breaks through the silence. I'm not sure if I fell asleep or not, but I react with a start and my heart beats 100 miles per hour.
So, what do you think?
About which part? There's a lot to take in.
Yeah. About all of it. Or any of it.
While she sits, she idly pulls on a loose thread from the blanket close by. She pulls and pulls and it unravels even further. I don't think she notices she's doing it.
I think the main thing is that I wonder what else is out there now. Not just in the forest, but in the whole world. Are there more of those things? Or is it the only one of its kind? And how did no one ever see it before? There's just so much that I don't know how or what to feel. What about you?
Again, she shrugs.
The same, pretty much.
There's no way you're not gonna get that BooTube award now, you know?
BooTube? Surefire joke. Should be an easy smile, but she doesn't react at all.
Probably not. I think I'm gonna crash. Good night, Mads.
Just like Morgan, she gets up and leaves without even giving me time to reply. It's barely 5 seconds between her saying it and her bedroom door slamming shut behind her. It's not at all the kind of response I expect from Tara, but these are far from normal circumstances. All that I can do now is wait for her, or for Morgan. Wait and wonder. After a long night spent researching, I awaken around 11 in the morning, a good 2 or 3 hours later than I usually get up. I get dressed in a hurry, not wanting to keep Tara waiting before we head into town. It was a pretty ironic twist though, since usually I'm the one who has to wait for her to get ready after late nights. I have a sheaf of notes that I took and a hand cramped to match. I'm not sure how useful all of it will be, but it's at least a starting point. Tara's good at seeing the hidden connections and putting pieces together too. It makes for entertaining videos, even without results. In the living room, a lukewarm pot of coffee and a used mug are the only indication that she's awake.
Hey, I'm up now. Slept in a little. I'll be ready to go in a sec.
I call out from the kitchen, preparing my own cup of coffee. She doesn't respond. I wonder if she couldn't hear me with the door closed. I Go and knock on the door, being careful not to spill any coffee on myself. No response. Knock again, louder. More likely, she has headphones in. There, she fell back asleep.
You ready? I'm good to go. I have a bunch of notes and research too. Maybe we could go over some of it with Morgan.
Silence. She's not that heavy a sleeper. I knock again, even harder, but she still doesn't answer. Jiggle the doorknob a bit. Turns easily. Open the door slowly, giving her ample time to yell or interrupt me. But she doesn't. Her room is empty. She left without me. I let go of my carefully arranged papers, suddenly not really caring that much about them as they flutter to the floor. My hand shakes, hard enough for coffee to spill out of my mug, staining the pages below. So that's how it is. Whoever it is. I swallowed the lump in my throat, forcing myself to not overreact. Maybe she tried to wake me up and I slept through it. Or maybe she just went off for a walk and will be back soon, so that we can go into town. There are 100 different benign scenarios for what could have happened, but in my heart I know that she ditched me. Plain and simple. I go to sink about my coffee, my appetite suddenly gone. I pick up the papers that I dropped. A few are ruined beyond legibility with the coffee, but it's not like anyone will miss them. I throw them in the trash, along with the sodden paper towels that I use to clean up the spill. Gather the rest of the papers into a pile and leave them onto the kitchen counter. Throwing them away feels like a waste, but I don't really want to look at them right now. I retreat back to my room and slam the door. Even though there's no one to hear it, I put on a film at random. For background noise more than anything, my thoughts start to wander before opening credits are even finished. What exactly was it that I did that upset Tara so much? Before Morgan took us to the church, things were fine between us, if not a bit tense. But I was working on my attitude, and she didn't seem bothered. And since seeing that monster, both of us have said so little. So I'm just left wondering what I did wrong. I wish that she would talk to me, or at least help me understand. It's about 15 minutes into the film before I realize I have the French audio track playing without subtitles, and I haven't understood a word of it. Close my laptop and stare blankly at the wall, since it's the only thing I can do and not mess up right now. It isn't long before I hear the crunching of 2 pairs of footsteps outside, as well as a low murmur of conversation. The front door bursts open, and from my room, I can hear the din of Tara opening.
Gotta be related to the stuff in the journals. There's no way they're not talking about the same thing.
Okay.
Just send all those pics to my email address when you can. This is gonna be so freaking good.
Okay.
Sure thing.
I sat paralyzed in my bed. Should I ignore them? Go out and act like nothing's out of the ordinary? Part of me wants to just hide in my room, but the way Tara and I have always gotten over arguments is by being open about our issues. Plus, Tara would know that I'm at the cabin. So if she brought Morgan back here, I doubt she's trying to avoid me. Maybe they came back specifically to include me. Yeah, hoping for the best, I headed out into the living room. I think you overreacted a little bit. Just a bit. Tara's brewing a pot of coffee while Morgan leans against the counter. A few books that she must have brought from home are stacked beside her. She glances up as I enter.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey there.
Tara nods without facing me.
What are the books?
I nod at the stack. Tara sets 2 cups of coffee in front of her, and Morgan slides the books towards herself.
They're the journals she mentioned on the walk to the church. She was letting me take a look at them.
She puts emphasis on the word me, like she's the only one allowed to. Maybe that's the case. This isn't off to a great start.
I see you picked up a coffee habit too, huh? Morgan's really rubbed off on you.
Oh.
Yeah.
She turns to face Morgan, being sure to exclude me from what she says. Yeah, okay, never mind. I didn't read into it. Definitely Morgan's upset. Tara's upset about something.
Okay, we can chill in my room. Might want to grab one of the spare chairs from out here.
Oh, okay.
A small consolation, but I can tell that even Morgan feels a little uncomfortable with the situation. She gives me a sympathetic look but doesn't say anything. Just why is Tara acting like this? If she would just tell me, we could work it out. Stick out an arm, halting Morgan as she carries a chair across the cabin.
Tara, can I talk to you for a sec?
Two of them exchange a look, but I can't tell what it's supposed to mean. Then she shrugs. I gesture towards my room, and as she follows me in, I shut the door.
Can you please, tell me why you're mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
Then what is it? I scoff.
Whatever you want to call it, why are you treating me like this?
Like what?
I can already feel myself starting to get angry, but I try to keep it under control.
Please don't play dumb like that. You barely talked to me for 3 days, you ditched me this morning, and now you're going out of your way to exclude me.
Ew.
I don't know how to interpret that as anything other than mad. I have no idea what I said or did to piss you off, so I don't even know what to apologize for.
Tara runs a hand through her hair and looks around the room. It's the first time she's been in here since we arrived in Innsfield. It's more or less a carbon copy of hers, so I don't know what's so interesting about it.
I'm not mad, I'm just not wasting your time with this stuff anymore. I can take it from here.
Oh, not quite sure I heard her right.
Sorry, what?
I said I can take it from here.
Oh.
Take what exactly?
The vid. I mean, you're quitting anyway, so I've got to learn how to do all this on my own, right?
That's a good point.
But
Mads.
that's not...
It is, though. I didn't even know what to say to that.
Why not ask me at least? Or even tell me? That's so screwed up.
Agreed. You should always communicate. Communication.
How do you figure? Every day since we've got here, you've talked about or at least shown how you don't want to be here.
Oh.
You even said it yourself. You had to make an effort to be less bitchy whenever we go out.
Oh.
So, now that there's a solid lead, I can figure out the rest of it myself. Or at least with Morgan's help. If you want, I can buy you an early train ticket home or something. Next one should be coming through in a day or two. You don't have to keep pretending to care.
Ouch. The whole time, her tone never changes. It's flat and emotionless. I wonder if that's another result of Morgan's influence. Or... it's... yeah. I wait, expecting there to be more. Hoping that there's more. There isn't. I stand there dumbfounded. Tara shrugs and then leaves, closing my bedroom door behind her.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's get those journals.
I can hear her talking to Morgan through the wall. Bright and chipper. My legs feel weak all of a sudden and I collapse onto my bed. Through everything, my own misgivings, concerns about my future, choosing to quit the show and telling Tara about it, and even witnessing the monster at the church, I managed to keep my composure. But for the first time in, I don't know how long, I can't stop it anymore. I cry. Oh, all of this feels so unfair. Of course I don't want to be here. It's been a waste of time every single other time. I get it. I was the skeptic, the non-believer, only humoring her in all of her exploits and playing as her foil. I rained on her parade constantly. And now, after everything that's happened, she was right. I can't deny it. But why does that mean I don't deserve to be involved in it now? Maybe she took my leaving personally, even though I swore that wasn't the case. I was only doing what was right for me. I needed to move on and do something with my life. I mean, 250,000 subs and like a ongoing successful show is actually something with your life, but you know, whatever. So, is it really my fault that I meant that I had to stop playing around with paranormal stuff? Over these past couple days, I was even starting to reconsider that maybe staying on the show wasn't so bad. Once the episode goes live, everything will be changing. But now I don't feel like that's an option. Like she'd even want me there anymore. I feel like everything in my life has changed in just a few short days. Like I'm lost at sea without anything to hold on to. My best friend in the whole world is at the epicenter of it all, and I'm thousands of miles from home. Through the walls I can faintly hear the sound of Morgan and Tara discussing whatever it is. Not nearly loud enough for me to make out any words, but enough to be reminded of my exclusion. I wonder if Tara knows how upset I am, or if she expected me to be grateful. Neither would surprise me. I cry until my eyes are dry and sore, but I don't feel any better. The walls of my bedroom feel claustrophobic, and the vague sound of Tara talking is insufferable. So you leave? I hurriedly bundle up and slip out of my bedroom and out of the cabin to get some fresh air. The cold is just barely more manageable today, but it's still preferable to the atmosphere inside. It stings my wet cheeks, burning reminders of my unhappiness. I pick a direction at random and start walking into the forest. As long as I don't make any twists or turns and just go in a straight line, I wouldn't be able to get lost. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. I love the landscapes on this. After what I've seen, the woods feel especially hostile now. I wonder what else could be lurking in the shadows or farther amongst the trees. Countless possibilities that I'd never considered are suddenly plausible. But for once I don't hesitate. I just walk, my feet automatically stepping over roots and other forest debris. Underfoot, the snow is slushy and messy. My head feels the same. My head hurts. Everything hurts. My nose burns from crying. The cold only exacerbating the effect. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? I feel lost. I reflect on the show and on the years I've spent with Tara. I wonder how it all came to this. The show had been her idea, of course. Oh, that's so much reading. Taking a break for a second, that's a lot of reading. I get it's a lot of internal monologue, but whew. The show had been her idea, of course, but I was the one who encouraged her to go through with it. She always had a flair for the dramatic. Whether it was the school play, her old blog, or even the over-the-top fanfic she used to write. And I'd always been there to support her, whatever it was. I'd go over her lines with her, help her rehearse, or even edit her fics. When she first had the idea for Taranormal, or combining her two biggest interests, cryptids and herself, I was the only person who said she should go for it. I even came up with a name, which I'm still pretty proud of. You came up with Taranormal? Good job. At first, I thought it was just be another entry in a long list of harebrained ideas that Tara would start and quickly lose interest in. I gave it 2, maybe 3 episodes tops before she got bored, but the reception was good and the views started coming in. So did the ad revenue and the sponsorships. What had started as a weekend hobby turned into a weekend responsibility, and then into a day job. My role went from holding a cheap camera and stitching together the footage to actually learning proper video editing and investing in decent equipment. It seemed only normal that I'd be the one to handle all the invites, fan mail, inquiries, and more, the professional side of things. I put my life on hold for the show, quit college halfway through my film studies degree, and moved out of my cheap student housing. I gave up my barista job and the store manager position I'd been hoping for. I dropped everything in order to help Tara make the best show possible. I mean, you learned some really cool skills there. Although I can understand that if you feel like you didn't get to finish your college degree. Aww. That's a cute image. Sure, it wasn't like I had it rough. Tara always split the royalties with me and pays for the expenses herself. The two of us have done pretty well for ourselves, better than we had any right to expect. But at the end of the day, it was still always about Tara. Her name in the title, her name on the contracts, her name in the fan mail, Tara. And when it's all over, when the final episode someday comes up and she moves on, she'll be able to take that name with her anywhere. That success, that popularity. Are you jealous? All I'll have is the memory. The more I dwell on it, the more unfair Tara's behavior seems. I can feel anger overcoming my sadness. I mean, I can see that she's angry, but she shouldn't have excluded you. You guys need to talk that out a little bit more. You talk some, but it also feels like Maddie hasn't really thought about the fact that, you know, her leaving is, I mean, it sounds like she was the whole reason the show was a thing to begin with. And she hasn't really thought about the fact that, like, she's sucking away all of the loving support that she'd had. It's like taking the foundation out from under Taranormal. How could she say I'm only pretending to care? I gave up years of my life for her and dedicated them to making her look good. Without me, she'd never been able to balance running the business side of the show while actually making it. She wouldn't even be close to being tech savvy enough to do what I do. Part of me wants to spin around right now and go back to the cabin and demand an apology. But I know how that would go. She would just get defensive, and even if she did say she's sorry, she wouldn't mean it. Actually, it wouldn't actually fix anything. We'd just be back to where we were when we started, when we first got to Ensfeld. Awkward and tense. There isn't really a good solution that I can think of, but I have to do or say something. I can't just leave things as they are. Her offer for an early trip home lingers in my mind. I'm sure she'd make good on the promise. It sounds pretty tempting too. In less than 3 days, I could be comfortable, warm, and back in my bed. I never have to think about Morgan or Ensfield or Forest Spirits or word churches or floating lights again. I just move on with my life the same way I had been planning to once I got home anyway. As I think of that though, I know it's not really an option. I'd never be able to live with myself if I let it go all unresolved. Two piercing red eyes shine in my memory, and I know that there's no way I'd be able to forget about them. Ooh, that's pretty. Remembering the monster makes me stop and take stock of my surroundings. I've been walking for a pretty good rate, unhindered by this weather and fueled by my bad mood. Smoke clearing up ahead. It looks like it might be a good spot to take a break. Oh, that's pretty. These are so pretty. Pretty. It's not very big. I realize when I reach it, I could toss a stone from one side to the other. It doesn't feel as stifling as the rest of the forest, though. Clear my throat. It's the only noise I can hear. The sound of the village doesn't travel this far. They barely reach the cabin, for the most part. Overhead, the sky is crystal clear blue for the first time that I can remember. It's still freezing, but it isn't cloudy. Not even an airplane or vapor trail disturb the tranquility. I rub my eyes and defog my glasses. I must look like a real mess out here. I do feel a little bit better, though. The fresh air alone has helped clear my head. Snow underfoot is well trampled by my stomping around, and mud mixes with slush to form a thin paste that sticks to my boots. Oh, I hate that. It's so gross. If there was somewhere to sit down, this place would be perfect. I make do with leaning against a tree that's mostly dry. I need to remember how I got here. It'd be nice to have a place of my own to retreat to when I need it, away from the other two. Well, introvert time? I get that. Just as I'm enjoying the tranquility, there's a rustling sound overhead. I look up just in time to see a face full of snow as it slides off the branch. Perfect timing. I cough and sputter, wiping away as much as I can, though a lot of it still falls onto my clothes. I wipe my jacket like wings, flap my jacket like wings, trying to knock it out. Right then, from the corner of my eye, quick motion captures my attention. It's gone too fast for me to notice. There's a glimpse of fabric, and I turn around to see who it was. But there's nothing there, no sign of anything having been there. Her pounding, I walk over to the direction it came from, looking for footprints or something. There's nothing. I rub my eyes. Maybe it was the snow messing with my vision. Snap. Harsh, unmistakable sound of a branch breaking cracks behind me. I spin around, expecting to see Tara there with a dumb smile on her face for having spooked me. But again, there's nothing. Pull my coat tighter around myself and press my back against the tree.
Hello? Is someone there?
My voice resounds through the clearing, but goes unanswered. I like the echo. Yeah, they added the little echo there. And that's awesome. Again, a flash of movement from the corner of my eye. This time, I'm sure I see it. A glimpse of purple darting behind a tree. I start towards it, hand reaching, but without a clear plan in mind, just like a dog chasing cars. Don't know what I'll actually do if I catch it. Walked into the middle of the clearing, turning a slow circle, hoping to spot whatever it was.
Can you hear me? Hello?
It already knows I'm here. There's no point in trying to hide. Ooh, I saw a flash of something. Snow crunches off to my left, and I pivot just in time to see a girl disappear behind yet another tree.
Hey, wait!
Might as well not be saying anything for all the effect it seems to have. I hurry to the tree where I saw her, but she's gone. I'm just running in circles, chasing after who knows what. My heart beats like a kick drum. A million possibilities run through my mind, each one more fantastic than the last. Maybe she's from a village. Maybe I imagined her. Maybe she's another forest spirit. This time less horny. Maybe just as horny. Maybe she's the same forest spirit we saw before, in a different form. Any of them could be true. I've seen now that nothing is impossible. I look around, searching for a clue, and finding none. This was a bad idea, I know. Every single fairy tale I've ever read warns that this is a bad idea. Chasing after mysterious girls in the woods never ends well. She could be luring me to her secret lair. Ooh. Or could even be in disguise for some kind of terrible monster. Maybe it's the forest spirit, come to exact revenge for trespassing in its territory. I should turn and run, and race back to the cabin. If I told Tara or Morgan, I'm sure this is the kind of thing that would override Tara's annoyance, at least for now. Could be our chance to patch things up, pursuing some new mystery. Or I could not tell Tara, and I could solve the mystery myself, whatever it is. For the first time, something happened to me that didn't involve Tara. I could keep it that way. My hand is trembling. I reach out in the direction I had last saw the girl, more as a sign of openness than anything else.
Are you still there?
Okay. Silence.
If you can hear me, can you let me know?
No response. My fingers close over empty air. This is stupid. I feel like an idiot talking to no one. If she wanted to be caught, she would have let me, I'm sure. But then, if she didn't, there's no point of even showing herself.
I'll come back tomorrow, okay? If you'll be here again.
It feels desperate. It is desperate. But I can't let this chance go. Not when this could be all I have. A breeze flows through, as if to answer. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I stand there, hoping for another sign. As I give up, I turn back towards the path. I see it, for just a split second, a bright pink light, crystal clear, the color of sunset, flashes just once. Same as the one we chased through the forest several days ago. My breath catches in my throat. My muscles tighten, poised to follow, but my common sense overrides. As much as I want to, I can't just go running off into the forest on my own. Probably never find my way back. Swallow, if it understands me, like it seems to, then I'll see it tomorrow, once I've had more time to prepare. I face the direction the light came from, even though it's gone now.
I'll be back tomorrow. I promise.
Aww. Get it, Mads. Morgan and Tara never noticed me come home. They might not even have noticed that I left. Don't make any efforts to talk with them. I'm still too angry with Tara, so I spend the rest of the day in my room watching films and reading. All of the research that I was so eagerly working on is put aside, stuffed into a folder that's out of sight on my hard drive. I have my own project now, my own lead to explore. Thought of that light, the mysterious girl in the woods, stays on my mind through it all. Even late into the night, I could hear the Morgan still over in Tara's room with her. At some point, the sounds go from conversation to something else. Oh? I turn up the volume on my computer. They can do whatever they want. It's well past midnight when my eyes finally feel heavy enough to sleep. Will we catch up with Morgan and Tara at some point? Because I was hoping for that one. The next day, I head straight to the clearing without telling anybody. Nearly 24 hours to the minute since I left it. From the thick clouds overhead, I could tell it's going to be a short trip. Still, I have to go, at least to see. My heart thumps with anticipation more than a little nervousness. It's an odd mix. I force myself to keep calm demeanor, and not get too worked up. It's difficult. I'm hopeful, but I don't know what for. I don't have a camera or even a cell phone. There's no way I can prove anything that happens. It's not like there's anyone who could vouch for me. Say that I saw what I saw. For now, it's important that I keep it that way. This encounter, whatever it may be, will be mine, and mine alone. Arriving at the clearing, I brace myself for what I might find. Nothing's changed. I've met with silence. There's a faint sound of trees rustling in the wind. Nothing more.
Hello? Are you out there?
I give it a moment, waiting and hoping for a response that never comes. Maybe it really was my eyes playing tricks on me. The light could have been a reflection of the sun, and the light could have been... The girl could have been. There isn't a doubt left in my mind that the girl was there. There's no way I didn't see someone. Frustrated, I kick some mush at the ground, splashes and splatters my legs.
Are you there? I'm waiting.
So desperate you are.
Please.
Oh. I feel like a fool. I'm pleading with someone that may or may not exist to manifest. If someone had told me a week ago that I'd be here doing this today, I would have laughed at them. Everything about this situation is unlike me. My irritation builds up with myself, with Tara, with stupid Ghostlight, everything. Whoever was there is gone now, and really, what kind of idiot convinces herself to come back to an imaginary date with a weird breeze? Clutch my fist. Looking without seeing. Slowly, I turn circles, hoping for something, anything. I traipse back and forth at an increasingly desperate pace. I'm not really sure what kind of clue I'm searching for, but just knowing that I can't sit still. If I sit still, then I'm giving up. And if I give up, then I don't have anything left for me out there. For a second day in a row, I feel the sting of tears in my eyes. Pinch my eyes shut to stop them. Not here. Not today. I hold my hand there. Suck in a deep breath. The cold air stings my throat, steadying my breathing, fighting back the urge to cry. After a moment, once the urge has passed, I've lowered my hand and opened my eyes. Oh! And she's there. So silently and so suddenly that it's like she was never not there. The mysterious girl stands before me, barefoot in the snow, but seemingly unfazed. She regards me with a curious look, her eyes wide, like I'm the one who's out of place. Beautiful green eyes. Now that she's here, right in front of me, I realize that I don't know what to say.
Hello?
It's all I can muster. My voice comes out weaker than I expect. Her eyes go wide at my world. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. She mouths something else again, still without a voice.
I can't hear you.
I frown. She turns away. Have I disappointed her? Is she going to disappear again?
Please don't go!
I don't know why I want her to say something is clearly different. Unnatural. This isn't a normal girl. But that's exciting, in and of itself. The girl turns back to face me again. She looks just as confused as I feel. There's a nervous sort of energy to her. Beneath the gown she's wearing, far too thin for the weather, the girl's legs are tense and ready to bolt. I take a step towards her, holding out my hands, the same way I'd approach a kitten or a lost puppy.
My name's Madison. Can you understand me?
She still looks a bit nervous, but nods. So we speak the same language, that's good. Is she from Innsfield? I can't imagine she's from anywhere else. There's nothing else around.
You were talking, right? Just a bit ago. But I couldn't hear you.
Another nod. That means that for whatever reason her words can't reach me. Maybe she's naturally mute. Or maybe her voice is magically stolen? Every idea that comes to mind is more ridiculous than last, but I consider them all equally. To my surprise, I'm able to remain calm and, by my standards, pretty level-handed. It seems like the girl is more afraid of me than vice versa. I drop my hand down, offering a handshake. She stares at it for a moment, maybe expecting it to turn into a snake or for me to shoot magic bolts from my fingers. When neither of those happens, she gingerly, slowly reaches for my head. It passes right through me. Her fingers glide through the palm of my hand like a breeze disappearing into the air. With a sad smile, she looks down, seemingly expecting this result. Horrific realization slowly dawns on me, with the same tinge of certainty that guided me out here. This girl isn't really here, in the same way that I am.
You're a ghost.
A slow, sad nod. She looks apologetic about it, for inconveniencing me with her lack of corporeal form.
I'm sorry.
Aww. The words feel weak and inadequate, nearly like a non sequitur, but really, what do you say to a ghost? Yeah, what do you say to a ghost? She shakes her head vigorously, hair flying about, trying to rid herself of some kind of bad thought. She gives me a big smile and stretches her arms out wide, turning around the gesture to the trees around us.
What is it? I don't understand.
The girl bites her lip, wondering how to better convey her message. Then, with a decisive nod, she points at me, then points at the ground between us. Pausing a moment, she holds that pose, and then points to the trees. In particular, the path I'd come from, and shakes her head. A flash of fear knives its way under my skin. Is she threatening me? She definitely doesn't look like it.
Something about where I came from?
She nods and then repeats the pointing, first at me, then at the ground.
Me? Right here?
Another nod.
You're asking if I'll stay here?
She nods and claps, hopping up. Oh, hopping up and floating. Got it. Except she doesn't come down. She hovers there as if suspended by invisible strings, then slowly lowers herself back to the ground. I'm not sure if it's what she was going for, but I smile.
Are you showing off?
She laughs and nods, glad to be understood.
I can stay for a bit, sure. If you want me to, I mean.
The girl practically zooms the short distance between us, moving in what seems to be a supernatural speed. She stands so close that her gown phases through me, uncomfortable in its lack of sensation. She nods again, this time solemn and hopeful. Ah, this is cute. I can't fight the feeling that she could easily be setting up some kind of trap or leading me astray, but I still don't get that impression from her. So I agree.
Okay, I'd be happy to.
Good.
But I can't stay for too long, or Tara will start to wonder where I am.
Okay. Tara again. For the first time since we arrived, I was able to finally push away from my thoughts. I was so overwhelmed by meeting this girl that Tara didn't even register on my consciousness. Also, she seemed sad. But now, there she is again. She's more haunting than the ghost. The ghost in question miles Tara's name. One of the few words that I actually lip read.
The person I came here with. She's, back in the village.
The girl's eyes go wide and points in the direction of the forest, and then makes a dragging motion back to where we are. This one's easy to understand.
No, she's not coming here. She has no idea.
For the first time, I'm glad the girl can't speak, because it means she hasn't asked me to elaborate. I don't want to think about Tara right now.
Anyway, were you here yesterday too? Watching me?
A nod, wholly unapologetic.
I thought so. I also thought I might be crazy though. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised by either one.
She looks surprised. I wonder if she knows about the other supernatural occurrences in the forest. Maybe they're connected somehow.
The other day, my friend and I were out in the forest.
Nod.
And suddenly, there was this huge snowstorm. Out of nowhere. And we saw this giant thing.
Stretched my hands out to indicate just how enormous it was. But the enormity and terror of it are impossible to convey.
I don't even know how to describe it. It was a monster of some kind. Like a huge tree had come alive and was walking in the snow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not only does the girl nod, but she laughs, finding something funny about my story. I'm not sure if I should be worried or not.
So you've seen it. Is it, like, evil?
A firm shake of her head. Good.
That's good. It was honestly the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
After that, we taper off into silence. Well, I do. I don't have a reason to believe her, but so far, she doesn't seem threatening at all. I have a hard enough time holding up my end of the conversation under normal circumstances. This just makes it even harder. Two of us just stand there looking at each other. Now that she's not moving around so much, I get a better look at her. She seems to be around my age, if not a little bit younger. Her hair is long and slightly unruly, reaching well down her back. She reminds me a bit of Rapunzel, all alone in the forest. A cute bow midway down helps keep her hair back in place. Her wide eyes are curious, but slightly sad. Still, she smiles so easily. I wonder if I'm just imagining the sorrow. As green as emeralds, her eyes kind of remind me of Morgan's. So taken aback by her sudden appearance and, well, ghostliness, that at first I didn't realize she's beautiful. Her choice of attire makes a lot more sense now that I know that she can't feel the cold. The gown she's wearing has a few dangling threads and scuffed spots, which I assume haven't changed since she died. I shudder, trying not to think of my own mortality. What was it like? Why is she here instead of whatever usually happens when you die? Does she know what she's missing? An afterlife, or lack thereof? I have a million questions about her life and about her life itself. There's so much I want to ask, but it's impossible. Plus, we've only known each other for a few minutes. It feels like that would be rude to ask right away. A thick snowflake lands on my cheek, startling me. I've pretty much forgotten about the weather. Overhead, the clouds are getting worse, and the snow is starting to fall more heavily. As much as I want to spend more time with her, I don't really want to get caught out in the blizzard for a second time.
I need to go back now, but will you be here again? I'd like to see you again. If you'd like that too.
Aww. She nods emphatically, with a grin to match. I can't help but smile in return. It's nice to know that someone is looking forward to seeing me.
Okay. I'll come back as soon as I can. I promise. Although, I'm not sure when the weather will let me do that. On the next sunny day, I'll be there, okay?
She nods.
Okay, I'll see you soon then. I hope.
The girl waves goodbye as I turn and leave, remaining in the center of the clearing. As I get my last look at her, I know that I'm not imagining the sadness in her eyes now. I glance behind several times on my walk back, each time expecting there to have disappeared once more. But she stays there, waving, until the trees obscure her from sight. A splash of purple fabric against the brown and white of the forest. A little spark of light to look forward to. Aww. Okay. We're gonna cut it here. I am a little kind of speechless on this one because I loved that. That was awesome. So definitely got into the supernatural part of things today. Met a great forest spirit as well as meeting this girl who's really interesting. So I can't wait to see more. Definitely harder on me this time, so need to take a break after this. There's a lot of reading for this round, but love you all. Subscribe, hit the thing, do the stuff, and come back, because this is starting to get really good. I really hope you're enjoying it, because I am enjoying this as well. I want to make sure that it's something that all of you want to watch along with me, because I'm into it. I'm so into it. I'm just gonna locked in. So, anyways, I will talk to you later. I love you all. See you later. Bye!